if I may, and I'd like to have this young lady. Sergeant, do you wish to ask a question of these men up here? We'd appreciate hearing from you since you're on active duty right now. Would you please?
I'm not on active duty.
You're not on active duty.
No, I'm a veteran.
You're a veteran, okay,
Yeah.
but you just had your uniform.
Yes, I wear it every Veterans Day.
Okay, would you like to ask these gentlemen a question?
I'm actually curious as to if you have any good memories from your time in the service. I mean, I know I do, but we always hear, and I believe, I understand obviously why, but you always hear about the stories that just rip your heart out, and so I'm wondering, what do you remember fondly?
You had 4 guys or 3 guys there, and one guy actually saved the lives of 3 or 4 of the others. That was a nice thing to know, because somebody sacrificed his life to save this guy. In other words, he stood up and, let's say he pushed him away, or he did this or he did that, and he was laying dead out in the field, and these 3 guys were praising him. That was a memory that any soldier would have done for another soldier, and that shows the kind of comradeship and the faithfulness and the real basic story of an American infantryman, I think.
Is any clowns in your outfit that you remember to this day? And did you have time for that kind of horseplay?
Yes. We had one guy come in and say he was, well, he was able to get back to our first line. We could hear the fighting going on out there. And he played basketball with us at Princeton. And he said, he kept saying time after time, he was groggy. They helped him over. Our mine hit a Jeep. Our mine hit a Jeep. We couldn't get it right, and we know he was a pretty intelligent guy, but his mine hit a Jeep, and that's the reason he got injured.
I was in I would consider a pretty special group. We were classified. Everybody in there had 120 plus IQ, and we were in a kind of a secret outfit. And everybody was picked, and somehow this one fellow happened to be in our unit. And he was like one of those guys that was contrary to everything and anything. Now in basic training you were confined to quarters. You were quarantined, you didn't go anywhere except on the little postage you're on. But this one fellow happened to be shipped in, I don't know why or how, but he was the rebel. And it so happened he got one of the upper bunks. Now, if you did something wrong, of course you were going to pay for it. You'd either, whole unit would, you know, it wasn't one guy, it was everybody. So if somebody did something, everybody got involved. So you'd be scrubbing the floor till midnight, or you'd everybody end up on KP or kitchen patrol. So anyway, we got this one fellow, came in, and one of the last guys in, he got the upper bunk. Now after they blew taps, you weren't supposed to go anywhere after they blew taps. Everything, you were locked in, supposedly. You weren't really locked in, but you weren't supposed to go anywhere except go to bed. Well, this guy decided he was going to go into town. Now, this was not only against the rules, but it was going to be against us. It was going to put black marks on us. So...
This guy wasn't you, was it?
Now, how did you know that? Do I look like that?
You look like maybe
I look like the type.
guy in the top bunk.
Well, I'll tell you what we did, and I was part of it. Yes. So he did this for several days, and all of a sudden, something was going to. We figured the bubble was going to burst. So what we decided to do, and we had what they call the Army wools on. So we short-sheeted his bunk. On top of that, we loaded up with flour. So this little boy come in after taps and after a little soiree in town, and he tried to get into his bunk. And as you might expect, all heck broke loose. It just so happened that our sergeant had a little room by himself, and he heard the commotion. He came out, and he saw this fellow looking like a snowman. And from then the story broke, what had happened. So all the little problems that we were getting into, which weren't our fault, was this fellow by the name of Schlesinger. This guy that got into our outfit, and it wasn't a matter of a few hours and he was long gone.
We captured a rural area, and there was a barn. I always loved barns, and a pile of hay inside the barn and a pitchfork. So I started, just for fun, throwing this hay around, and I hit something solid. Well, I uncovered a large flask. I had no idea what it was. I was called a kid in my squad. Well, I called Sergeant Reynolds. He came in and he uncorked it. Oh my God, Metz, this is schnapps, cough medicine. So they took this flask, put it in the front of our truck that we used to haul our weapon, covered it with a blanket. Every night we went out and got our cough medicine.
If you could all please give a round of applause to all 8 of these veterans who served. Thank you all for coming out. We can't thank you enough for spending a couple of hours with us here today.